How's it doing? 1 2 1 2.
Have a little quick conversation.
Yeah. How you doing, Dr. Oliver?
1 2 3.
What we're going to do, we just make it natural as possible, rather than like a
Let's have a chat.
just a normal. Because I'm actually interested. Like I'm actually interested to know like what you do. Some of the things that I've actually seen, I'm like I've never heard of this before. So we're gonna get into it. Let me just get my thing up because I don't want to get it wrong. So let's start with bioenergetics.
Oh, cool.
What is bioenergetics for those who don't know?
Well, it's on the notion that the body is energy. The body is between physics. It runs on the law of physics. You know, when you hear, I don't know how many of you hear like physics in school. You know what the law of physics?
We weren't really. I don't know if anyone agrees, but we weren't really.
I should have made him introduce himself.
Oh yeah,
first.
if you introduce
Okay.
yourself first, well.
That's fine. Dr. Aubrey Oliver, trained at Ashford, not Oxford, but Ashford in California University in alternative and complementary medicine. What that is we do not do drugs, unless it's a good drug.
It's the good stuff.
Yes, ganja, but
I
cannabis, ganja. And basically, you know, our studies range from anthropology, you know, the history of healing, going back to Africa, going back to Europe, of course, the Russians' technology that we're using, and that's where bioenergetics comes in. And as far as South Africa, you know, using different herbs, different supplements, and so forth, just a drug-free kind of treatment, drugless therapies, and therapies that will work because they work with the law of physics, they work with the law of chemistry, rather than being counterproductive, like you say, chemotherapy where it kills everything in your body. We build back the defense cells so you can fight off the cancer cells instead of killing everything. So bioenergetics does that. Bioenergetics is like coherent multi-radiance therapy. So you're using LED lights, you know, those color lights, and you're using low-level laser, which is cold, so you can leave it on all day. You can use it on a baby and no burning because it's cold. And then there is ultrasound, which a lot of you women know about because they do ultrasound, even men, if you have prostate problem, to look at the cells, what's going on with the cells. So we use a combination of those radiances, and they actually stimulate what comes from the sun, healthy sun rays, for stimulation. I'm going to tell you that, and I'm going to say on the record that bioenergetics started in Africa. Back in the days when you're sick, as an elderly, they will put you in a wheelchair or a chair, and they roll it out or lift it out into the sun and leave you there in the early morning, and by mid-morning or so, they bring you back in. They will do that for about a 2-week period. After about 2 weeks, based on the disease or the disorder, you'll see the elderly start walking back in with their chair. They don't need to be lifted anymore or anything. Now they're lifting the chair back in.
Message.
That's what's happening. The energy from the sun repairs the cells. Because all of us, we're energy. We are created by carbon, which deals with the sun, the ground, you know, the nutrients from the plant. Everything is energy. So running through our body, that 30-foot pipe that we have from our stomach to our anus, all of that, you know, if we're not eating the right thing, we either sap in energy or we give it more energy. So if you're eating the right thing, you're giving more energy to those cells through that pipe. Or if you're eating the wrong things, then you're creating a lot of toxins and you're blocking those pipes. As those pipes block, sickness comes on. Liver slows down, which is supposed to filter out, you know, bad stuff, bad toxins. Your kidneys start to dysfunction, and your heart starts to slow down. That's where the high blood pressure comes in. The pancreas starts to stop producing hormone insulin, so you get this diabetes, and those are what plague us, but it's all because of lack of energy to the cells because of diet and so forth. So bioenergetics deals with using the elements of the sun rays, but they harness it into now small devices with laser, ultrasound, and the other one that use LED lights and magneto. Don't forget magneto. Magneto is very powerful in healing. I wear a magnet bracelet all the time. You can get these magnet bracelets. Don't get the Chinese one, please. Get the ones made in Germany or from Africa, because you don't know if it's real magnet, and then you might get something sucking out something else out of your body. But it's supposed to help the cells stay ignite. You know, you don't want to put it too close to your phone because it also changes information in the magnet. So magnet is very important. The lights are important for the cells. So when you go to these doctors and they give you a prescription, they're basically giving you chemicals. Yes, that's part of your body setup, but the chemical they're giving you is just to suppress the symptoms. So if you're feeling pain, they give you a chemical that will numb the nerve, because your nerve is now the center of all this energy. So if the nerve is not getting the right energy, then you're basically going to start feeling pain and so forth. But what these medication does is to numb the nerve. It does not take care of what the real problem is, the root problem. If there's cancer there, you won't know until it's too late a lot of times, because they're giving you medication just to numb that up. I've had patients and family members who have passed on because they're feeling pain, they're going in, they're getting the medication just to keep the pain down. Then before you know it, the cancer has just gotten so far that by the time they can't do anything about it, it's just too late. They're gone within a month from the time of diagnosis. So the bioenergetics is the best way to heal your body, because it puts everything back into function, you know, cell-wise, on a cellular level. That's what that does.
So what got you on your journey? So where did it start for you? What was that moment where it's like, I want to get into healing?
Yeah, my mother, you know, mothers always.
Yeah. Big up the mums out there.
My mother gave me a book called Back to Eden, which talks about, you know, healing your body with natural elements, natural resources, from the sun to the fresh air to the salt in the sea. You know, when you walk on the side of the ocean barefoot, you're getting the highest form of antioxidant your body can absorb. So all this stuff that you see, like in the store, they say, oh, it's high in antioxidant. It doesn't come close to just walking barefoot on the sea or walking barefoot on a grass area.
You're gonna have a load of people walking up.
Diabetes might, you know, want to get cut. So make sure you check the grass and you know,
You
the
go
cut.
Shoreditch Park and you see some of them white people doing it, walking around barefoot in
Yeah,
the grass.
that's energy.
They
That's
know what to
energy.
do.
That's getting the right amount of energy to your body, and it's
It's
balanced.
grounding.
But there's so much natural ways to heal yourself without all this chemical. This chemical is definitely, the chemical gods make a lot of money because they sell you garbage and they put it in your food. Speaking of food, I mean, right now they're working on food science, and they target neighborhoods with certain type of foods, certain type of science that they put in the food. Like in the black communities in the United States, you get certain foods that you'll not get in the white community, and those foods are to basically, you know, shorten your life.
Wow.
You can't say it any other way.
So this
And
is
that's food science that's going on right now.
That's a real war.
Yeah.
That's a real war.
Yeah,
It's coming in.
we're in a health biological war where they're going to use our health against us. And you know, you can see what's going on. Right now they tell you, oh, to wear these masks, but they're not telling you that that's what's going to probably start the second wave of diseases, because you're not going to have infected lungs, which are going to be similar to the COVID symptoms. Because if your lung is infected and full of mucus, then what is COVID? That's exactly what they say COVID is. So you have to now, you know, use your own discretion about your mask and staying inside, not getting the sunlight and all the stuff. As black people, we need sunlight. When I was growing up, it's funny, I used to see my parents and the elderlies covering themselves with umbrella in Jamaica in the hot sun. Dude, I didn't realize, I thought they were doing something good. They were like keeping the sun away. I was like, oh, okay. But now I realized they were doing harm. They were actually doing the reverse. They were keeping, you know, because they didn't like the sun. Because as a dark skin, we absorb sun more. But The only reason why white people are white and we're black is just because they move away from the sun. They move away from the equator, because we all started right down there in Africa. And then the further you move from the equator, the paler you get. So there's nothing, no secret to the skin color. It's just sun. It's just because of the energy, you know.
I don't know why they moved me away from the equator.
It's so hot. But that's the energy we work with, yeah.
And you're also a theocentric healing specialist.
Right. That's using, some people say religion, faith, but I believe that your faith and your purpose and vision can heal you also. So you say you're in a situation where a lot of our sickness starts mentally, believe it or not. I mean, you can say, sometimes you can pinpoint. I've talked to patients where they can pinpoint the point where they know that their stress was killing them to the point where the cancer start growing. Like they know they got this new job, they're trying to keep up the first year or so, they're trying to be their best, and it was so stressful. And then like right after that, she said, oh, that's where the breast cancer started, after that 2 year of just trying to fit in. So as a theocentric healer now, you basically let them see where the damage started, and through their faith, they can reverse that. Through their belief of knowing that they inflict that damage through their stress. Sometimes also you do constellation. Constellation is where someone passed on that you never asked, got the forgiveness. So you bring in somebody else to replace, and then let that person talk to that person, like the ancestor kind of chat, and they ask for forgiveness. I've seen patients where because of what their parents put them through, they have a permanent back pain. And when during the constellation where they basically try to talk to their passed on parents and even bend down and bow down and talk to them using somebody else, when they get back up, the pain was gone, the back pain was gone. And it was just because of the stress that their parents put them through, and they never dealt with it, they never talked to them face to face about it. But now they're dead and they can't get to really talk about it. But through constellation, through that theocentric, we don't say religion, it's not religious, it's more spiritual. More spiritual.
It's really interesting because obviously I've always struggled with the idea that health is either mental health or physical health. But what you're doing here is you're looking at the whole picture, holistic.
As I said, I approach it from a holistic point of view.
Yeah.
Mind, body, and soul, spiritually, physically, and mentally.
Which absolutely makes absolute sense.
Yeah, that's what sickness is all about. It starts in your mind first, and then it breaks down into a spiritual sense, and then physically is what manifests.
That's the end.
And I was going to say it's physical, the last stage.
Right,
so
right.
When you see a physical, you're like, well, there's
really
two other
messed up.
stages.
Right. So you can stop it probably in the mental stage. If you know what's going on, you can stop it. You can stop the disease. You can stop the sickness from going on, and you can feel it sometimes. You can tell when you're really stressed out, and you can feel like you're gonna get sick.
You know.
Is there any techniques to? I know I have my own in terms of observing where I'm at.
Right.
Is there any techniques that people can do to understand where they're at? Is there any?
Yeah, there's different exercises, but meditation is probably the best. Getting up in the morning. I do a Tai Chi type of patting for circulation and immune system. I sent a copy to her, so she could probably send it around to the group. But no, I sent it to you. You're twins? But yeah, so she could send you that. That's a patting. You could do your meditation based on. I do an eye exercise also for people with eye problems, because I know when I hit 50, I was like, oh, time for the glasses. Glasses and let's see, what they said it is when you're going down. Glasses and then something else and then the hips. Once you know you're gonna get hip surgery, that's it. But anyway, so I thought I was at the glasses stage, and I started doing. One of my herbalists showed me an exercise to do for the eyes. Which you basically just remove toxins from the eyes. Because a lot of times, how you doing? A lot of the times, what happens is that you're now, we're not removing enough toxin from our body. Most of us are suffering from acidosis. You heard of that word, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Too much acid.
Yeah.
We need to be a little more alkaline. And what is acid food? You guys know what acid food is? What causes acid?
For those who don't,
Huh? Starch is right on. But most of this processed food that they're giving us. I always say if God didn't make it, don't eat it. Because that worked for me. Or the fat you eat, the fat you wear. No wonder why
so for those for the foods that are more alkaline rich in our current environment.
Although we can't just go past the fact that he said he's over 50.
No, oh yeah,
We can't just skirt we can't just skirt past that.
Well, that's the energy. The energy. I remember when I turned 40 and I was like, man, everything was aching. Everything. Then I started using the energy therapy on myself. And wow, I got back into running, sprinting, and all that stuff. I even did a 53 quarter at 45. So I was like, wow, this energy stuff really works. So I use it on myself first. So recently they make some small ones that you can use to repair your tissues, repair your energy. They're about the size of a cell phone. So anyone need that information, they could go and look it up. But you basically put it in areas of any disease, like 200 diseases that it can reverse. Arthritis, heart disease, any kind of cell-related neurological epilepsy, those kind of things. All of those things can be reversed by just applying the energy in the right place in your body. And it will show you. It'll come with an app that shows you what to do and how to apply these. So anybody need that site?
What's the website?
Yes, please.
I'll send it to you.
We'll give them the information.
Yeah.
And what about the people behind the camera that's not gonna be there? Where can they get that?
You're gonna get it.
No.
Oh, no, but we're recording it.
We're recording.
Onto there.
Oh, the
Yeah,
ones.
so- yeah, so
I thought you meant you.
The others, the viewers. No, the viewers.
We can give them what you could do is tell them to. I'll give
The email.
Lisa the information and then tell them to email
So it'll be under the
or
screen.
WhatsApp the Lisa.
All right. Yep.
Right.
So, yeah,
Lisa will put it out. Yeah.
With the website. Is that the one you sent us?
Yeah.
Nasset?
But no, just email me. It's adisa@thecentral.com.
Okay, we'll get that in the link
Put that
below.
below.
Side or
Right.
wherever it
When
needs
it's
to be.
editor, at least.
Right. And you send it to them. All right. Send it to you and then you put it on the.
We'll
and
put
then
the
you
link
it out.
on
Yeah,
the
put link
video.
out. Right.
Yeah. We do it like that, then, isn't it?
In-
Also,
Oh, go on,
real
sorry.
quick, the
We
copper.
can't even sell that.
Oh yeah, coppers.
Right. Those
So
are
you was
good.
talking about magnet.
Our brain is copper,
Yeah.
like as a little particles of copper.
We was talking about copper earlier, right?
Right.
So yeah.
This helps with the healing of any kind of neurological disorders and brain related stuff. It works with that. Plus arthritis and those kind of things. It's very good at that. So
with
all
the-
these are energies.
Where can we get these?
They're here, man. This
Yeah.
I had to come to England to get this one.
Is it?
I get the information for you.
Because you know what it is. You see quite a few different cultures wear copper bangles, and it's always like why, and that's the important process. A lot of our, especially when I speak to a lot of the youth, with the explanation of why we need to do some of these things. So like my carer used to give me she used to boil up old orange peel skins.
Okay, yes.
When we're getting a bit poorly, I'm like, why has she got these dried up skins on the side?
Yeah. I was
Start
just
to
telling
make
someone that. Yes. Your mother always, when they peel it, they leave it right there. It makes good tea, but it's a very good tea. It's actually fight cancer. If you blend up those peels, right, if you know you have cancer, they actually are much more powerful. You mix it with lemon peels and stuff. They're 1,000 times more powerful than chemotherapy. But they're not going to tell you that because they don't want to lose their big dollars.
And that's the powers.
Yeah.
It makes natural sense. It's like it's reverting back to what we traditionally know, isn't it?
Right.
It's like
That's where I said our health. This thing that I'm doing now is called Take Your Health Back. Instead of saying back, take your health black. So you're going back to Africa, you're going back to the original things that they used to use, because, as I said, from the sun ray and the sunlight on down to the different herbs, there's roots. The way the Creator set it up is that for every disease, there's a root or a tree or something. And they're making more diseases, you know. You know, it's these diseases, you know, when we were
Coronavirus.
kids,
Come out of nowhere.
we never remember our grandparents having some of these diseases that we hear about today.
Yeah.
So, you know, disease is evolving, and as they come up with claims of cure, they create another disease. I mean, can you imagine that? You take a pill for diabetes, and before you know it, you have high blood pressure. The same pill gives you high blood pressure.
That is the craziness.
So medicine as we know it today is creating more disease than every other thing. Another thing, you know, we're not banging the whole medical system, because we do need them for emergency, diagnosis and all those things. But there's about the three top killers right now for black folks and people on, you know, these kind of claim to be free thing like Medicare in America. I can speak for Medicare. You guys have NHS, yeah. You have heart disease, because black folks does suffer from a lot of stress, and strokes and those kind of things will happen. So the heart disease is number one. Number two is cancer right now, because cancer has gotten so out of hand because of all the radiation that we're exposed to. Stuff like this will protect you from radiation, the shungai stones. And now it's getting worse, because now you have 5G, 10G, 7G, and a bunch of Gs coming along.
There's 10G.
Yeah, they got 10G out there and stuff. It's military, but they want to put it in your neighborhood like the Chinese. Chinese could actually see through your wall right now with 10G, you know.
What?
Like, you know, Chinese community, they can see what's going on in your bedroom. I think the British would love to have that too, because it seems like they like to interfere into people's personal life, stopping your life. But anyway, we don't want to say much about that, so that's another time. But yeah, so you have to protect yourself from the radiation and all those things, so you need to find out the different things that you need to use. And so, as I was saying, you need to treat yourself with these, with what is the elements that are there, because they're provided. They're provided, as I said, from Africa. When we used to be kids with our parents, we never used to see a lot of these diseases that we see today. I mean, the only thing we used to hear our parents say is, oh, they got a little sugar or a little gas. Because they hear at night, the fart plays down. And that's because they work so hard and then they don't eat that well. But nowadays, it's just, you know, you're talking about from lupus. Lupus been around for a while, but I never heard black people having lupus before, until now. So
Yeah,
what's causing that? You know, it's like, why so many black women getting lupus? Lupus is where your whole immune system go awry. It's not functioning the way it is. It's fighting against itself. A lot of things going on in the body. The body is tearing down. I mean, it's actually in some cases worse than HIV, because at least now HIV is under control. But once you get lupus, it's just a downward slide. But magnetic therapy over the years has cured lupus. So magnets are very important for that. So people, you know, don't know that, but they go and the doctors, they don't know what to do when you have lupus. They just give you all these things. They just treat the symptoms. They just treat the symptoms. So if your knee is hurting, you have arthritis from the lupus, they say, okay, give you something for the lupus, for your knees. But they're not treating lupus. The way you treat lupus is you deal with all the organs, re-energizing them and getting them back on a normal function again. Let them function normally, what they're supposed to do. And the only thing you can use for that is energy.
So how can you get lupus? Because my sister had lupus and died with it, and she didn't get it until she was in uni at the time. She was diagnosed. She was at university.
Oh, university.
Yeah, so she was a student. So could that be a poor diet, stress?
Well, diet contributes to it. Chemical. What was her studies? Was she in the
She
chemistry
was studying to be a teacher.
Chemicals. Pesticide, if she's, you know, used pesticide for gardening to get rid of weed. Any things in the bathroom, if you use a lot of chemicals in the bathroom where you have it sitting there, those plastic, they seep through. If you use chemicals for your dry cleaning, I mean, we found out recently that a lot of breast cancer was very big among people with money who do dry cleaning. Why? Because the chemicals in the clothes were seeping through their breasts and getting into the ducts. So there's a lot of things that contribute to these autoimmune diseases, because cancer lupus, all of them are autoimmune diseases. That mean the immune system is now, out of whack.
Compromised.
Exactly. So,
Can we talk about cannabis?
yeah.
And what because this is about Cannabis Me, right? So, what is it? Because obviously there's different ways to take cannabis, but how do you?
A puff a day is always the way to go. But that's actually, I heard it from a doctor, so it's like a puff a day. Just one puff.
What about today?
Well, who's going to be able to do a puff? One puff.
No.
No, she said you do 1 or 2 puffs a day and then put it down. That gives you enough for your, But we do have a cannabinoid system.
Yeah.
Just like how we have a nervous system in our body, it's designed by the creator. So it never makes sense to me why they banned ganja and all those good, cannabis. Because we're naturally designed for it. Like if you're not getting it, your brain actually sometimes produces it. CBD and THC, not so much THC, but CBD, CBN. There's about 144 different elements in cannabis, but we just know about the main 2 ones: CBD for medicine and THC for medicine, but at a higher level. So psychological medicine. But it's also the combination of CBD and THC actually fight cancer better than just using CBD. So you need both of them. But cannabis has been around from the beginning of time. Some people said it was on Solomon's grave. That's why Bob Marley was so smart. But no, it's been around before that. Actually, the Indians used to have it. The Dogo people, who were the priests of the Egyptian, they used to use it among the Egyptian royalties or whatever, the pharaohs, and it's been there forever. But it's designed because think about your system. You have an endocrine system. That's what controls your whole sugar intake, your hormone from insulin to your adrenal glands. All of that is your endocrine system. Once that goes out of whack, then certain diseases are going to come in, like diabetes, pancreatic inflammation, cancer, and other things. So you have a cannabinoid system similar to that. So if you're not feeding that cannabinoid system, that's where a lot of disease also creeps in. The cannabinoid system sits throughout, like along your nervous system, and once it's filled with the right cannabis, I don't know about skunk now, but once it's filled with the right ones, the ones that grow for 9 months, not the fast processed one that they get you here, that I think it's sending a lot of young people heads into spin. If you get an old Sensimilia, lamb's bread, the one that Rasta them smoke, you see them Rasta 90 and them still smoking it, that one. That one, we need that one. That one will sustain health much longer. And once your cannabinoid system is filled, it goes to wherever the disease start developing, wherever the pains and stuff. So yes, you need the good cannabis for sustenance of quality life.
What's the results that you've seen from people who do it
Well,
this way?
I treat a lot of cancer patients with cannabis, and patients with arthritis, any kind of itis, that means inflammation. So you have, once you see the word itis behind there, just something to do with inflammation. So what the cannabis oil does, or just cannabis, it will reduce, it's an anti-inflammatory first. And then it's certain ganja is antifungal, antiviral. Even this time right now, when I was talking to some young guys in Jamaica, and they smoke a lot of the good Jamaican weed, and they swear by it that they will never catch HIV because they smoke so much weed. But I had to look into it, and I said, yes, it does build up your immune system. If your immune system is very strong, it's hard to catch any virus. Virus, you can fight off virus. But I told him not to go test it in any way.
Don't push it up.
But it's antiviral.
These viruses are intelligent now. They come out at certain times at night.
After 10.
It definitely fights against, it fights against this stuff that's out here now, the Coronavirus been with us for a long time. There's been patents made on it from the 80s.
Yeah.
But this one that we're seeing now is a, what we call, you have two types of virus. You have the, I think it's, I forget the word. Well, you have the one that's made in the lab and the one that's, natural. So it's kind of hard to find vaccine for the one that's made in the lab because they mutate. I mean, HIV is like one of those. That's why they never found a vaccine for HIV, because it changes. In different people, you got different reaction. And it's the same thing with this coronavirus. And they've been putting this thing into play from 1999 from our studies. We see where they start talking about it, that they need to get ready for it, and they're starting to get patent. The first patent was in 2003. Anything corona, you can research it. These things are online, so you can go. Anything corona was under the, I think it's the US government, but then they realized they're the one that's going to get blamed by themselves, so Chu Fashi and some other people and so they send this to Wuhan, to the University of Wuhan, to start 3-point-something million US for the research to take place there, for them to see how to remove it from these rat bats to human and just those tests. But they already had it going on before that, but it's just that they didn't want to take the blame by themselves. And these are scientists, virologists who have done this research. So there's nothing new. I mean, it's like all you have to do is brace yourself. The way you protect yourself is stay energized, keep your immune system at top level, because there's no vaccine that's going to work for that. So it's just a strong immune system that's going to fight it. Nothing else. And that comes through energy medicine, taking the right herbs, and smoking the right weed.
Thank you for your time. It's been amazing.
Lovely.
We want to see you again, but also, can we find you
Anyone
online?
else has got a question?
Yeah, I was going to say, can we find you online though before we...
Yes, let me see, I just set up something, Dr Aubrey with nd.com. But I'm going to I'll give you my card. There's a site that we're working with, General Discovery. I'm their chief holistic officer, so you can get some stuff on there based on my stuff. And there's a couple of, actually, the best part to get information right now, right here in UK, is Nascential.
Sorry?
Nascential. N-A-S-S-E-N-T-I-A-L. So it's like Nature's Essential. Spell it again.
NASSENTIAL.
.farm.
F-A-R-M.
F-A-R-M. I'm their research director, so there's information there. Lots of information about using the products and stuff like that. There's some really cool products that they're putting out, so get on that side.
I'm going to get a load of people rushing like, yo, where the ganja there? I've got the certificates to help people as
well. The shop will be opening
yeah.
once we come out of
It's closed down, or shut down, or locked down.
If you need help with that, let me know.
Yeah, if anyone's got a question.
Has anyone got any questions they want to ask?
Would you say that drugs is banned there because it's a free market?
Which one?
Drugs.
Which drug?
Like, my thing is, it's deemed as drugs here, but all of these is basically plants, isn't it? And considering that it's a free market here, you don't need a license here. That's why it's banned, because the market, they're trying to control it.
Right, that's right. You're talking like ganja.
Everything.
Right. I mean, ganja is definitely banned because they couldn't compete with the pharmaceutical companies, the chemical companies. None of them could compete with it, because ganja in itself is a whole industry. You could get material, everything. Canvas. Remember canvas that we used to use to make tents and stuff?
Yeah.
That's where it comes from. Cannabis. Cannabis. Cannabis.
Yeah.
Cannabis was what before hemp. Like hemp is the cousin of cannabis. And the only thing that's really, you can get hempcrete and all the materials out of it, but as far as the CBD, you only get it from the seed. But with ganja, you get everything from the whole plant. Everything is medicinal in the whole plant, and plus you can make material from that. So yeah, that's why that was banned. cocaine was banned because they got a little far with it. I mean, if you use the Indians in the Alps, you know, the Andes and those places, they use cocaine for many years to keep them the energy and to keep them, you know, imagine living at that height.
Yeah, they chew the plant.
So they chew the plant. So in that way, it's healthy.
Yeah.
But when the white folks or the whoever those people down there that start breaking it down into chemicals and breaking it down, those were the Spaniards who found it, and they start to realize, wow, you can get a good high quickly on this stuff, you know. Then it becomes a chemical that's bad for you, because now you start eating the brain and the pituitary glands start deteriorating. Most cocaine addicts have a hole in the top of their brain.
I never even knew.
Don't do coke, guys.
Portugal legalized drugs, so they could prioritize for their citizens' needs.
Portugal?
Yeah, legalized drugs.
Yeah, which drug?
All
Yo,
drugs.
I'll call you back in 5 minutes.
Including cocaine?
Everything.
But I thought Amsterdam had done that for.
Nah,
They
that's
done
just
just
weed.
weed, isn't it?
But Amsterdam didn't do cocaine?
No.
And heroin?
No.
So I said Portugal legalized heroin
They
also.
jumped out the window.
The
man.
poppy seed and heroin, the poppy seed was also a healthy way of stimulating and getting energy.
But all
But
of
when
these
they
are
break
used
it
for
down.
medication.
Huh?
That's what I'm saying. It's illegal, but everything's being used for medication.
You can use it for medication.
Yeah.
All of those drugs.
They do it for
Or
drug
even
addicts.
mushroom, you know, those magic mushroom. I'm working with a company and they just put me as a director and they're making medicine from those for psychological and
DMT.
soldiers who have been at war and come back and they have that, what's it called?
PTSD.
Right. So now they're using the chemical from the those mushrooms. That one time was like sending you into another space. Now they figure it can work for these people that went off, you know, mental ill people. So yes, I mean there's a benefit in all of them. It's just when you overdo anything that you basically mess yourself up.
Yeah.
Even food. All food is good, but if you overeat,
How do you crystallize your Pinot brand? Because I hear that we are all crystallized because we've been doing
because
the
of
wrong things.
because of they say fluoride is the main one. Fluoride is the main one that that's damaging our pineal glands. So first thing, get off fluoride. That toothpaste, get a toothpaste without fluoride in it. The other one is to stay off the aluminum pots and get more copper pots. Cook out of copper, drink out of copper. Stay away from plastic stuff. All of those are chemicals because plastic, as simple as you see it sitting here, it's a liquid. This thing that holds that liquid inside is still a liquid. So it gets into the water. If it sits too long in the heat, some of that plastic gets in the water.
Yeah, the water
Some
tastes
of the famous Hollywood people, like Sheryl Crow, she said she get breast cancer because she would forget her bottled water in the car where it gets warm and she goes and drink it, and the plastic, she swear by it. She said it's the plastic that gave her the cancer. So yeah, so those things, stay away from chemicals basically. I mean, the chemical guys are the ones who go out and make all these things. I mean, most of them are in New Jersey, like a lot of the chemical companies but they're very big, rich companies, and they want you to enjoy their chemical, but at the same time, they're not going to tell you the death rate that it's causing. They don't care about that. You know. But I was saying again that the third form of debt within our community, the more lower income communities, because we get these free packages either from NHS or from Medicare, is doctors writing us too much prescription, too much drugs. And those drugs interacting with each other, most of them don't have the time to tell you what the side effects are. Every time you get a drug, go and look at the side effects. It's all there. It's supposed to be, And whatever is hidden will kill you.
What's the level for cholesterol? Because when I went to my doctor's, mine was 5.2, and he wanted to put me on statin, some drug, which I said no. So, is there
No, there's no level. I mean, if he said your bad cholesterol is high, then you just get off the bad food that's causing the high cholesterol. You don't need to go on statin drugs. But if you have to do something healthy, you can do like a CoQ10. CoQ10, your body produces that, but as you get older, it gets less.
Okay.
And that's what the statin is supposed to replace. But you get your own CoQ10, but make sure you research it because they're making them, because they know that it's good for your heart. Anybody's making it with whatever, less amount of ingredients. So research the one that you're going to use. But CoQ10,
CoQ?
CoQ10, right? It's a I guess I would say a supplement that your body produces. But as you get older, it gets less. And that's why a lot of people over 50 go on these statin drugs because they don't have enough CoQ10 in their system. So you just need to replace CoQ10. So don't listen to them about statin. Statin only is drugs, bad drugs.
What would you recommend for eczema on a child?
But you need to change your diet.
Yeah.
You give her a lot of milk stuff, milk product,
No, not
cheese,
dairy.
okay. So you cut out dairy already?
Yeah.
She's still getting a flare up?
Yeah.
Is she like one of the high strong stress?
It's literally just came overnight.
So that's recent.
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, neem and those other herbs rubbing on the skin, like you get a neem oil or something with neem in it, one of those skin cleaner. I've seen where just bathing the child in oatmeal, you know, like getting some oatmeal, good oatmeal, not the bad, because you have the bad oatmeal too. Maybe an organic oatmeal water, a bath will help when it flares up, will help calm it down.
Yeah, that's what I've been putting aloe in there in the bath.
Right, aloe is good, yeah.
Okay.
Those kind, any of those natural skin kind of what do you call it? Skin herbs or skin plants, phytonutrients, right, will work.
What is the best medication for sickle cell?
Sickle cell?
Sickle cell.
Well, sickle cell is a condition, you know, which causes a lot of dis-ease. So there's no real medication more than since it's neurological, you need to keep the patient as calm as possible. You don't want them to, and diet is important. You make sure they eat a lot of high fiber and stuff, a lot of greens, stuff like that, because you don't want it to flare up. Because their cell is just sickling. It's kind of like twisted, and to get through the bloodstream in certain areas, when it's stuck, that's where the pain is. So you just want to keep it, and that's, they said, caused by malaria. Back in our generation, back in ancestry, when they were living in the River Nile. So a lot of us were bit by the malaria mosquitoes, and it stays in our genetics, passed down. Some of us are lucky. Maybe the mixing kind of saves some of us too. I hate the mixing now.
The wall-class trait, what about those that have the traits? The traits, yeah.
Stay away from anyone else who's got a trait.
Just make sure you test them before you're married. Right?
Yes, yeah. Be responsible.
The kids will have it.
Yeah, that's what happens. Trait and trait will make
Yeah,
different.
I know that, but what I'm saying is with the medication side of it, because you're saying it's all...
No, the medication, there's no real medication, but it's more like keeping yourself from anything that's going to flare it up, any bad, diet. So I would suggest that a child with that kind of a cell situation do not eat processed food or anything. You start from an early age giving them the healthiest thing they can eat. Things like the aloe vera, the juice and stuff, even though it's bitter, those things keep the blood healthy. It's when the blood gets really toxic and acidosis, then you get that kind of flare up, because that's what it is. It's just, even with the skin disease, it's when there's stresses in the picture, or bad diet. The two main things that keep disease, keep repeating themselves and stuff. So you keep her healthy. Let her eat healthy. If she wants no sugar stuff, she has to stay off candies and all those things. Yeah, in the same case here too.
Is there any replacement candies? Coconut.
I think if you get the little device, also it will help keep the cells healthy from might reverse some of the damages too. Yeah, I'm gonna send it to her. I will send the site, and then you'll just get.
Any other questions? There's no stupid questions.
I've got a question. Fibromyalgia and fibroids. How do you treat those two? Where do you
both?
start? Yeah.
The person have both?
Yeah.
Wow. One is with the muscles breaking down and atrophying, and the other one is a muscle growing out of your uterus.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I treat fibroids is almost like it's a tumor, but it has blood going to it. It actually becomes a little organ as it gets bigger.
Wow.
So the thing is to cut off the blood flow to it as much as possible. Well, certain places do it. I mean, you had it done, right? Yeah. And
I'm looking to get rid of mine naturally, so that's why we
Right,
spoke
right.
about that.
but who was the one that you did
It's
the
me.
blood flow, right?
It's
You did-
me.
Oh, you did the blood flow. So,
Cut
and-
the artery of the blood.
Right, because I've heard of that procedure. But to have it done naturally, you'd have to treat it like any other tumor. I'm treating a patient now similar to if she had uterine cancer, because the size of hers would show that there's also some type of cancer present. So I treated, you know,
Pharmaceutically, they had treated it with a cancer drug. However,
right, that's what they're gonna do, but that cancer drug will cause other problems. So it's best to treat it naturally, yes. Holistically, I should say. Holistically, because you can use different things. In holism don't mean everything is natural, like grown from the ground. It just means that you're using exercise and other things to work with, you know, another mental, you know, aspect of things. You're dealing with all three elements of life: mental, spiritual, and physical. So it's best to deal with it holistically. So sometimes in processed hair, you've been doing that when you were young?
yeah.
A lot? Okay. So there's a study now that shows that the same chemical that you put into your hair to process it, to get it soft to look like the white folks and to get it dead like the white folks, is what's causing the fibroids. It goes right down into your uterus and sit there and form a growth. So most of my patients that I've treated with fibroids, it's funny because they said their mother or their aunt or somebody started processing the hair from they were 8 years old. I'm like, they're putting chemicals in your hair since you were that child. Now, there's a young lady I'm treating now. She was 20. She's now 28, and she had fibroids the size of a 5 month old, 5 months pregnancy. There's another lady. She's 30 something, a size of a 9 month old. Because, and then when you ask them, they all said they're some. This one young lady, she said she had such beautiful hair, long, strong, beautiful hair, but her aunt, she went to live with her grandmother. I don't know, and then there was an aunt there that seemed like she was jealous of the young lady here and started putting chemicals in her hair, burn off all of her good hair. Now it grows back into something looking different, but that's but that's what the problem was. The problem was that that's why she has these big fibroids now.
Even though you've detached yourself from the chemicals.
Yeah, but it's already
problems still-
take root into your uterus. Or unfortunately into your breast sometimes. So yeah, you have to get rid of that, and now detox. It's a detoxing that you're going through to break down.
I was going to say, does detox do that?
Yeah.
How often should we be detoxing our bodies?
Well, when we were kids, after every mango season, I used to get detoxed.
Yeah.
My mother used to give me the washout. Like, time for the washout. Like, oh my God, we don't want to wash out. That's what they call it as kids in Jamaica. But yeah, you need to go back to that. You can't be putting toxin on top of toxin on top of toxin every day and don't clean it out.
Don't make sense.
That's why some of us have these bellies. It's like when some of the great actors and like Elvis Presley, we don't use those guys as examples since they put it out. When John Wayne died, in his autopsy, they cleared out about almost 30 pounds of dry doo-doo that just been sitting there for years. Because these guys eat healthy, they eat well, and they just keep, but no one stops to tell them, like, dude, because you're making all this money, eating all this good restaurant food, don't mean that it's healthy. You need to clean it out. Elvis Presley said it was about 20 pounds. So you have to get rid of these. You have to clean the colon regularly. Maybe every 6 months you can do a detox, a colon cleanse, or something like that.
How long should you be doing that? How long?
No, it's usually a weekend. I remember when I was a kid,
You got to stay at home.
you know that you take it, like my mom would say Friday night, and you know that you can't play or do nothing for the whole weekend. You're running to the toilet and everybody say, oh my God, I gotta go again. But it's usually, it works. So maybe a weekend. You don't want to do too much because there's minerals and stuff that you also deplete.
What would you recommend?
The old-fashioned herb. There's an herb pack you can actually buy in these stores for water. You still see them. I mean, those things been around from a kid. If you can't get it here, ask someone from Jamaica or from the islands to send some up for you.
Yeah.
But salt.
It's all gonna be sold in our shop.
Epsom salt is good too. Epsom salt is good.
You can drink
But Epsom salt is bitter,
mad bitter.
and it makes. I think that one is vicious on the stomach. You know, but I've seen where people said it helps their cancer also, cleans it out the stomach cancer, removes it out of there, or polyps or those kind of things. But be careful, you know, don't go overdo the Epsom salt because trust me, the reverse, there's probably not much reverse. You don't be doing for days. The other thing that's actually good that I use on a 90-year-old patient. She couldn't go to the bathroom for about 21 days. Now everybody was giving up because once you stop doing, you know, and I gave her 3 seeds of what's the one that they put in the hair, the oil, castor seed oil. I gave her 2 seeds actually. Don't, you know, if you don't get medical supervision, don't try it. But she got 1 seed in the night. I told him to give her 1 seed and chew it up and drink the water. And in the morning, if she's not really moving, because this is 21 days, you know, backed up stuff, give her another one. So they gave her another one. And I got a call like a day or so later, and from the helper. Like, that she, like, there's so much doodle, like the whole bed is full of it. And she's been going like this for 2 or 3 days.
She was ready to quit.
I'm done. And then it got to a point where her doodle was now clear, like gelatin. You know what gelatin is? Guess what gelatin is? It's usually the stuff they use to put the pills together that they've been giving this woman. This woman been taking like 40 pills a day for like 40 years. So all of a sudden, that's what was causing the clogging. So when you just get rid of all of the brown stuff, then she gets this clear stuff.
Yeah.
And it was all gelatin. And she was 90. That's when I just got back to Jamaica to start my practicing. And she was on my first patient. And just this summer, we celebrated her 98th birthday. All this was that was gonna kill her at 90 was shit.
She's gonna die from shit.
Yeah. Well, we got rid of the shit and she's still alive, you know. So a lot of us, when we think we're sick, it's just
shit. That's the moral of the story.
We need a detox. Yeah, we need a detox. We need a detox.
Okay.
I don't think I've heard anything about cleansing or anything in school or anything.
No, I'm not gonna tell you. That goes back to Africa. We know about this stuff, you know.
That's our culture.
It's our culture.
You've been told. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome, man.
We need you again.
Yes.
Yeah, man, I'll be here next month. I'll come up.
Yeah,
you know.
we need to host.
I'm trying to fly out of here soon though because I don't want to get trapped.
They said no fly now.
Yeah, no, I gotta fly on United on Wednesday. Better be there when I go there. They said British Airways, I think, not flying.
Oh, really?
Virgin or something, but
Okay.
after Tuesday. Oh man, I gotta go check my ticket again.
It's they announced no one can leave.
They did?
Yes.
You look at any
Morris
boostings?
did.
No?
Morris said no
When?
one to leave.
No, yeah, unless you go to work. I'm going to work.
It's business, man. It's different rules.
You said
Oh, yeah,
if you go
business
for
is
leisure.
different.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
go for leisure.
Yeah.
I'm figuring out a way to get so that I'm going to work.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for everyone for coming.
Fantastic.
Boom, and that's a wrap.
Should we trust this? Pure British.
Very good.
This is
Pure British. Should we trust it?
No.
Pure British.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't trust none of this. I can't trust none of this.
What was that?